Now back to Smoke on the Water for more Straight Up with Sturge.
Welcome back in, 8:24 on this Monday night edition of Straight Up with Sturge as we come to you live from Smoke on the Water in Greenville's historic West End. I hope all of y'all are having a good night. And let me double check with Ramona. Is this Matt Adams on line 4? All right. Well, let's go to the guest line. Let's bring in the uber talented. He just brought up the talent level here on Straight Up with Sturge tonight by an umpteenth degree. Matt Adams from the host of Fairways of Life on Sirius XM Radio in the morning, not to mention the fantastic writer that he is. Matt, did you get a chance to play in the day after tournament today?
No, I didn't. What's going on, guys? I had to get home this weekend, so I'm on the right now picking up one of my boys from lacrosse practice.
Well, thank you for taking time to join us. You were there in Augusta, even without Tiger Woods there. You know, Bubba Watson comes through with his second green jacket in 3 years. What was it like over there at Augusta National this weekend? Was it still the Masters, or was something lacking without Tiger in the tournament this past weekend?
No, I don't think anything was lacking without Tiger in the tournament whatsoever. You know, golf always writes its own story. And when in the last 15 years when Tiger hasn't been there, on occasion when he hasn't been either at the Masters or at a big tournament, people always ask the question, is it the same without Tiger Woods? Well, no, it's not the same without Tiger Woods. But I don't think it diminishes at all from the competition that's there. And the reason why I say that is that although Tiger has had an incredible record in big tournaments and certainly in majors, he hasn't won them all. So to discount a tournament that Tiger isn't in, I think you have to discount a tournament that he didn't win if you're going to put it on that kind of a standard. So, and that's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So, no, I think it was a shame that he wasn't there. It certainly was a shame that Phil didn't make the cut, but I don't think in any way it dims the brilliance of a second green jacket by Bubba Watson.
Matt, Price Atkinson sitting in with Mark tonight. I'm going to tell you real quick on a personal note, this is an incredible treat for me to be able to talk to you tonight. I've listened to your show, Fairways of Life, for a while. You do a fabulous job, asking probing, great questions. So this is a real treat. So I'm going to try and practice my best Matt Adams right now, but I want to ask you, I heard you talking on the show, on your show this morning about, yes, bookies have an agenda when it comes to setting favorites and, who may be the favorite, going into the tournament. Do you think Bubba this weekend kind of felt slighted that he wasn't being talked about as one of the favorites to win the Masters? I mean, having just won one 2 years ago?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I don't even think it was simply because of what he did 2 years ago at Augusta National, which lent itself to a certain level of comfort on the grounds. He's already won this year, and he lost in the playoff in Phoenix to Kevin Stadler. He's been playing really well. And how do you have a guy that has that level of proficiency already in 2013, 2014, the wraparound schedule for the tour this year, and yet he's under the radar? So I definitely think that put a chip upon his shoulder. But I also think that for most of the top golfers in the world, certainly we're talking about Tiger Woods, he's made a career of it. If they can feel like they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, I think it helps them. I think it helps them when people have doubted them or slighted them, whether it's real or just simply perceived. So I definitely agree with you. I definitely think that was something that was real.
Now, we look at Bubba Watson. He now jumps up into a group with two majors and, still fairly young there in his 30s, 2-year-old Caleb. That whole situation was, I thought it was wonderful. How do you not pull for Bubba Watson when he comes out and admits 2 years ago during his first Masters win, he was more worried about the mom of that child having 90 days to change her mind than he was the outcome on his first Masters. Where does this put him now in the hierarchy of golf, and if he can continue to pile up Masters, but does he need to win another major, whether it's a U.S. Open, a British Open, or a PGA, to really be confirmed as one of the next great major winners?
Well, it depends on how you define it. There's different ways of looking at it. To the first observation about Bubba 2014 edition, I really think that he's a different guy than he was when he won in 2012. I really have this sense that Bubba now is comfortable in his own skin. And my sense in 2012 was that Bubba, in terms of his public persona, was still trying to keep up with an image that he felt that he needed to portray. You know, and I'm not judging him adversely for that. It's what a lot of people that go through, or that do go through when they're on a public stage. And I think he felt that pressure to always perform and to deliver people the Bubba that they wanted to see. And now when you see him with the press, when you see him in front of the cameras, when you see him with people, he's really comfortable. He seems almost, dare say, for Bubba, as fidgety as a personality is, he almost seems mellow when he's talking about who he is in Bubba Golf and doing it his way and all the rest. And it's really, I think, a really cool transition that's happened right before our eyes. As far as what this major means to his legacy, 2 major championships with the new criteria for the World Golf Hall of Fame means that he qualifies right now. It doesn't matter how many total wins that he has. Otherwise, if you have either 50 wins on tour and or, in the operative being or, 2 major championships, you're under consideration. So he now has a career that can be reviewed from the perspective of, is it my Hall of Fame career? So, I mean, I think that's really, really distinctive. The fact that he is now among the company, there's only 17 of them, of men that have won more than one Masters tournament. So I think it's really, really significant, and I think when you marry that with the first observation that Bubba seems to be more comfortable being Bubba now than he's ever been before, I think that only points to great things for him going down the road, and probably 4 big tournaments. And the way that he tore apart Augusta National, using his power and using his length, I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't some more green jackets in his future.
We have Matt Adams, best-selling New York Times author and host of the SiriusXM morning show Fairways of Life, joining us right now. Matt, let me ask you, something else you said this morning I thought was dead spot on, and that you mentioned that Bubba put his stamp on this tournament on the front 9, really the last few holes of the front 9, and that back 9 kind of, if you can say that the back 9 in Augusta is slow, I certainly understand what you meant in terms of you compare the back 9 compared to what we just saw on the front 9. But when you look at a guy like Jordan Spieth, what he did this weekend, his pedigree, where he's had success, despite having a little bit of struggles, just a little bit on the end of that front 9, where does he sit moving forward? What is in his future?
Oh, I think the future is wide open for Jordan Spieth. Somebody asked this morning, if he goes out and wins the U.S. Open at Pinehurst number 2 a few weeks down the road in June, right? Would he be the youngest winner of a major championship? And I was racking my brain thinking, for some reason something was saying no, and I was thinking Johnny McDermott, who won it in 2011, 2012. Actually, a really tragic story, to tell you the truth, guys. He ended up spending the majority of his life in an insane asylum, but he won the U.S. Open twice, and he was the youngest ever to win it at 19 years old. Not that I think there's a correlation there, mind you, but
right.
I think for Jordan Spieth to have the poise and the maturity to A, contend in a major championship, but B, the way he handled everything else that surrounds the swirling fray, the crucible that is a major. I'm not just talking about the competition and making proper decisions on the golf course. I'm talking about how you relate to the administrators of the tournament, how you relate to the media, which is a huge demand, a crushing demand, and will be for him for some time, how you relate to sponsors, how you relate to fans, everything that encircles that. I haven't seen a kid with his kind of poise, his kind of intellect, his kind of insight. I don't know if I've ever seen it, to tell you the truth. It is that remarkable. He is the real deal. So the future is huge for Jordan Spieth.
Well, speaking of future, Matt, I want to ask you one of my favorite events in golf. I mean, while I love the majors, the Ryder Cup to me is just something that's just really special, and I love the team. I love putting on the stars and stripes. I love the team concept and everything that the Ryder Cup stands for. Being a Ryder Cup year this year, going over to Europe, what is performances in the Masters and majors in a Ryder Cup year? What does that do to help, or does it help shape Captain Tom Watson's selections this year, and what are some things that may be going into his mindset as he looks to make some picks as this major season and in some of these big tournaments in golf move through the spring and the summer?
Well, there's no doubt. I've actually, through the program, become pretty good friends with Tom Watson, believe it or not. I'm shaking my head as I'm telling you that because it's why the first time I've actually put it in those terms, but I've really gotten to know him pretty well. He's a great dude. He's a good guy. And it is clear that his criteria at this point, that the people that he's watching for, if you qualify for his team, he's going to shake your hand and tip his cap, and that's it. You qualified. You made it. No problem. And it looks like right now Jordan Spieth and it looks like, obviously, Bubba Watson are secure on the United States Ryder Cup team. But what Tom Watson is looking for is this. He's looking for a guy that can make putts at the time that he has to make putts when the pressure is crushing all around him. That's what he's looking for, a person that can handle the pressure. So I've asked him when we were, talking, I asked him about Jimmy Walker. I asked him about Patrick Reed. I asked him about Jordan Spieth. A lot of different players as we go down the line, and consistently his answer is always the same. I like what I see when they get done what they need to get done at that final moment that they have to do it. Kevin Stadler did it this year. Obviously, Walker did it multiple times, but it looks like he's going to qualify on his own. The big question is, at this point, Tiger Woods is nowhere near qualifying for the United States Ryder Cup team. Up until this point, the captains of the U.S. Ryder Cup teams that Tiger had not otherwise qualified for always felt compelled by the record of Tiger Woods, the persona of Tiger Woods, and the so-called perceived intimidation of Tiger Woods, although I don't think that really exists anymore, that for all those factors previously, he was always an automatic pick. I do not feel that Tiger is going to be an automatic pick on this year's Ryder Cup team, even if he's 100% healthy. If he does not demonstrate form that would merit him going on the team, he will not. Tom Watson is his own man. And unless Tiger is demonstrating current form that merits his pick, I do not believe that Tom Watson is going to put him on that team based on reputation and accomplishment.
All right, Matt, as we close up tonight, I want to ask you a question. Where we broadcast from right here in Greenville, South Carolina, is called Smoke on the Water, and we have actually sponsored our first little professional golfer this year. He's a former Clemson golfer, first year out on the NGA Tour, and Crawford Reeves goes out and wins the shootout, which takes care of his entrance fees for the rest of the year. With the game of golf and you seeing Jordan Spieth at 20 years old, and I personally as a golfer, I don't think that the professional level has ever been deeper. What kind of advice would you give somebody knowing and watching and seeing what you do that's breaking out onto their pro career right now?
There's a couple things that I would say, and I've worked with a lot of kids that we've put on the tour over the years, in the 30 years that I've worked in the game. Here's the first bit of advice that I'd have for them. When you go out and you pull together the money that you need in order to do what you need to do, which is a minimum of $40,000 to get out of the tour. Now, when I say $40,000, I'm talking about making sure that you have enough to play enough events to give it a good try, and that $40,000 is a bare minimum. There are so many stories in golf today. We always look at the golfers and we see them wrapped in the trappings of luxury and trappings of celebrity, and we think that it's an easy run. There's still plenty of kids that are driving around the country in an old beat-up car with a roll of toilet paper in there and sharing a room with 3 other guys. So my suggestion to young players is this. When you start to go out and you're going to go to the captains of industry of whatever city you live in and saying, hey, I need a little bit of money, or someone like you guys gets together to help them out putting together some money, the first thing I say is don't do it as an investment. And what I mean by that is when you go to these guys, Daddy Warbucks, and you say, hey, I need some help here. Are you willing to help me out? Don't put together a program and shy away from the programs that people put together that gives a return to that investor. The people that you want to align yourself with are the people that truly have a benevolent strain and interest in your well-being and want to see you succeed for that fact alone, and not because it's going to financially benefit them on the other side if you go out and start winning tournaments like crazy. And the reason why I feel that that's so important is it takes the pressure off these young people who don't need any more pressure, that they have to go out and perform in order to repay this debt. If you're going to go out and collect money from somebody, do it because you really want to help out a kid that's got the talent. You'd like to see him proceed so you can say one day, hey, I helped so-and-so on their way as they made their way out on tour. That guy's going to remember you a lot more for that, for your benevolence, than he will anything else. So that's the number one thing that I say to young people that are starting out, that are trying to figure out how to structure their money so that they can afford to go out and do what they want to do. The other thing is this. I have seen with the best amateur golfers in the world, the best collegiate golfers in the world, their ability to strike a golf ball is every bit as good as the best golfers in the world that are touring pros. And that shocks people when they hear me say that. They're every bit as good in their ball strikes. Where they're not as good is their ability to get up and down and save par when otherwise it's going to result in a bogey or worse for everybody else in the world. So young people like to go out and smash golf balls, and young people are drawn to the elixir of distance. Become comfortable with the wedge in your hand. Become comfortable with your putter. And make sure that you have proficiency in that area at least equal to what you do with the driver in your hand and with the irons in your hand. If you can find a balance in all of that, which I just described, then you can have a nice long career playing the game professionally.
Well, Matt, it's been an absolute honor and a pleasure to have you on the show tonight. This has just been an outstanding interview. We really appreciate your time. Before we let you go, talk about any special projects you're working on. Where can listeners read your work, hear your morning show on Fairways of Life on SiriusXM, your Twitter handle? Let the listeners know real quick where they can find and hear your stuff.
I mean, I love engaging with the audience, as you guys know. It's been an honor to be on with you guys, too. But Matt Adams, FOL, is my Twitter handle. Fairwaysoflife.com is the website if people want to check out there, or Facebook, or what have you. And if they get a chance to hear the show, I'm on from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio, where Sirius 208, XM 93. And the whole show is built on taking calls just like yours. It's nonstop calls from listeners. I really feel like the show belongs to the listeners. And what we try to do is we try to salt in golf legends and people that are in the news in the game of golf in between, and oftentimes allow people to talk to them. So that's, like you guys, it's just be who you are, have fun, and respect your audience, and that's the formula that's made it work.
All right. Well, thank you for your time tonight. Hope to catch up with you in the future and enjoy what's going to be a great run of professional golf here over the next couple of months.
That's for sure. Thank you so much, guys.
All right.
Thank you, Matt.
The very, very talented Matt Adams. And, again, you're talking about a guy right there that his peers, and we bring that word up again today, his peers have named him the best interviewer in all of golf.
I wanted to tell him, Matt, they say you're one of the best interviewers. Look, don't underestimate yourself in answering questions, because you were
when he dropped that one, I looked at you and I pointed at it. I was just like, that's awesome.
Well, and when you hear the honesty of a guy who covers the game, who knows the game, and tells you, look, I know Tom Watson. I know what Tom Watson's thinking. He says the same thing every time. And I can tell you right now, Tiger Woods is in no way a lock to make the Ryder Cup team. What he just told us right here, that was
that's breaking news.
That was news. That's something that not a lot of people expect to hear.
And then, asking that question about Crawford Reeves as Smoke on the Water has stepped up for a sponsor. What's the first thing he talks about? Getting that $40,000. It wasn't $40,000 for Crawford. Now, his life is made easier by the fact that he went out in the NGA shootout, their first tournament of the year, and finishes first. And he's now covered all 19 entrance fees for the year on the NGA tour. He sits in second place. The top 10 from the NGA go automatically to the Web.com tour next year. There he is sitting in nice position. But again, that's what everybody said all the way along. Get the money thing handled, so that's one thing you don't have to stress about during the year. But I'm telling you what, you get it handled and you win your first tournament in the shootout that covers your entrance fees, that makes your first year almost unbelievable. So that's why I slipped that one in there, because we will, I believe, be having a visit Wednesday night here at Smoke on the Water from one said Crawford Reeves. All right, let's go out to break. Phone lines are open, 722-1049. We'll put a wrap on this Monday night edition of Straight Up with Sturge when we come back. We are WCCP Talk Sports 104.9 FM, the flagship station of Clemson Athletics.